and Heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack, Mr. Magic Molly Mall. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed.
All right. Happy Festivus, season's greetings, happy holidays, and for those who celebrate, Merry Christmas too. We hope you had the guts to start Ashton, Jeanty, and Kenneth Walker. Probably not. And if you didn't have them on your team, hopefully you didn't play against them. But fortunately, we had plenty of big scores last week from other more reliable options as well. I would say, though, unfortunately, far too many quarterback rooms are on red alert around the league, and I think the ripple effect could leave us hurting at wide receiver or tight end. So our walking wounded rosters limp into championship week. We want to know who's going to bring home the hardware for our teams. Let's get into the Empire and find out. Chris, get us going here. How are you approaching this week?
Yeah, boys, Merry Christmas. It's championship week. Christmas, it's always a crazy week. Families are in town and we're running around scrambling, and the schedule for championship week is scattered, right? So we have games, 3 games Thursday and Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's a gradual process. How am I handling it? Just stick to the script. That's it. You know what your starting lineup is at this point, pretty much. I'm not going to get cute with it, Dan. I'm sure everybody has some tough lineup decisions here, but for the most part, you've trimmed the bench fat. A lot of those guys are just sitting there taking up space. Maybe you have a tough defensive matchup to call, but other than that, that's it. It's the last week, and ride the guys that got you here. For me, I'm looking at top 5 guys. I wanted to start the show off by listing 5 players I'm scared of come championship week. If you don't have these guys, you're petrified. If you do have these guys, you're happy you are. Okay, and I'm going to start off with Trey McBride this upcoming week versus Cincinnati. We know what the Bengals do against the tight end all year long. Trey McBride on a bounce back game in a high scoring game. I'd be petrified to see Trey McBride chasing me down in an overall. On the flip side, I'm going straight across the board on all Bengals. Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. Bengals straight across the board. Be petrified to have any pairing of those up against me here in championship week. Bear with me, everyone, while I Chris, my Christmas sickness over here.
Hey, Chris, you have to mention the Chase Brown hat trick in one quarter. God, yeah. That was insane.
And not only that, usually if you have a Bengal stack like a Burrow, Chase Brown, like that, usually it's like, all right, Chase Brown runs it in, Burrow throws to one of the guys. No, you got 2 from Burrow to Chase. So if you have those 2 on a team, I mean, it was heaven for you this past Sunday. But another great matchup for them. Let's go. Third player I'd be petrified to see is Dan's aforementioned Ashton Jeanty. Go figure. Ashton Jeanty versus the Texans. We all sat him. Most people sat him. I know I sat him in a spot that killed me sitting him. He's got the Giants here in championship week coming off of the Texans. I think he's in line to be one of those players that just has a huge last 2 weeks. And if he's very low owned in the overalls, especially the OLC, if you get him in there, he's a difference maker because not a lot of people have him.
Well, Chris, stay on Jeanty a second.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at his season, I know everybody kind of says it's a big disappointment, but he's pretty much through 15 games on the Jahmyr Gibbs trend. And I mean that more in the passing game. If you look at targets, receptions, touchdowns, it's pretty impressive there. So if the Raiders could ever, fix that team, get a real coach, quarterback.
Yeah, they got to improve the O-line. He's a phenomenal talent. He'll be fine in the future. But I was shocked at the game he gave versus the Texans defense. 30-something fantasy points. I'll wrap up with this. The second on the list, Chris Olave and Jawan Johnson. This combination here in championship week versus the Titans secondary. The Titans are tough to run on. The Saints can't run. These 2 are the only 2 in the passing game. And if you have these guys, you have to start them. Obviously, Olave blew up in week 16. Juwan Johnson had a great game too. I expect these guys to make some noise again this week. And finally, number one, the undisputed king of fantasy, Puka Nacua, petrified. I have no shares of him. He blew fantasy up last week, and he'll do it again in championship week. And if you have him, sleeping like a baby this week. So that's it. Those are the names that I'm petrified of for championship week.
All right, sounds good. I think for me, I'll talk a little bit more about rather than necessarily the sprints and where rosters are already set. You can't do anything. Who you got is who you got. But if you're going into championship week into some sort of a playoff situation, and especially if you still have access to the waiver wire, make sure you're making use of that. You have nothing else to play for next week unless this is some sort of a keeper or dynasty league or whatever. It doesn't matter if they're not in your starting lineup. You want to fill your bench with guys that your opponents could possibly use against you. So you just whatever it takes, get out there on that waiver wire, try to scoop up any of the 1 week rentals, any of that kind of stuff, and make your path to the championship as easy as possible. Nelson, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my focus, like Chris, is pretty much on the tournaments and final week. It's an exciting week. I think this year, with Christmas Day having 3 games, I think that adds a nice wrinkle to it because the 3 games on Christmas is it gets you right off the start, and then you got to wait a day, and then you got Saturday, you got a couple of games, and then Sunday. So, and the 3 games that are on Christmas Day are kind of like lopsided type of games.
So, Nelson, you're right. The Christmas games, everybody's talking now about how bad they suck. And yeah, the Chiefs offense suck. But there's some big pieces, right? We got the Lions playing on that day, and the Cowboys are on that day. Game-wise, those 3 games don't look really good at all. And then Saturday's games don't look good at all either. And then you look at Sunday and Monday's games this championship week. That's when you have all the, the nice high totals, the possible explosion games back and forth. So I think what you're saying, you might see whoever gets off to that nice start in those games with a couple pieces, you might settle in nicely going into Sunday.
Yeah. So this time of year, the way I look at it is these matchups, the teams playing for something, teams not playing for something. And I look at it as the Cowboys are still going to play their starters, and I think they're still going to compete. But a team like Washington is going to have Josh Johnson at quarterback. That could just be 3 and out, and the Cowboys got the ball. 3 and out, Cowboys got the ball. So you could see any type of combination of Cowboy players putting up a crooked number. So in that game, you have that. With the Lions versus the Vikings, you got Brosmer at quarterback, okay? Horrible. One of the worst backup QBs in the NFL, okay? That's another situation where you're looking at 3 and out, and Lions got the ball. And the Lions, even though mathematically they're not eliminated, they're pretty close, but I expect Campbell and those guys to go out there and compete. So I could see Lions putting up a crooked number on the Vikings, and you've got Amon-Ra and you've got Jameson and Gibbs and Goff. So that's another combination of players that could make a difference and put up huge numbers. Mm-hmm. And then the night game, which you would have thought was like a defensive battle when you first looked at it a couple of weeks ago. Now, Kansas City looked totally uninterested against the Titans last week.
Can I step in there, Nelson?
Go ahead.
Somebody said that and got ridiculed last week's show that the Chiefs were gonna not show up.
You were right, and I was wrong, Chris. No doubt about it.
Yeah, 100%. So
I moneylined the Titans last week in that game.
Would you expect a repeat of last season where Denver just thrashes them? Like late in the season, they played the Chiefs, and the Chiefs sat everybody.
Denver's not going to.
Matt, I don't even know who the quarterback
override
is
them
that's starting for Kansas City. Okay.
It might be the Bills practice squad guy.
I don't even know his name. Okay. So I'm expecting like Kansas City to not put up any type of fight. It's going to be 3-and-out. And if you've got Harvey and you got Sutton and Bo Nix, like those are guys that potentially on the right combo of teams could make a huge leap up the leaderboard on Christmas Day. So like I'm looking at those three the set of games there of like lopsided games where like we could see like several players from the favorite team put up like 30 plus fantasy points.
Well, I mean, you're talking all rivalry matchups right there, right? You got Dallas, Washington. Dallas is going to go into Washington and not give a shit about the, Josh Johnsons. That they're going to want to beat the hell out of Washington. And you're right, Nelson. Dak's going to go off with either Lamb or Pickens or one, maybe even a combination of both. Okay, they're not going to take the foot off the gas there. You move to that Lions-Vikings game. Now we're all on J.J. McCarthy watch because this whole Vikings offense will get blown up here. They lost Jordan Mason. If you're an Aaron Jones owner, he might have the whole backfield to himself. So that's a nice piece. But on the flip side, Gibbs came off of a game where he rushed for 2 yards. But now he's indoors versus a Vikings run defense giving up, everything. Gibbs is going to be in line playing with the lead to drop a 30-35 fantasy point game, in my opinion. So there are some really nice explosion pieces in these games on Saturday.
How crazy was it that Gibbs had 2 yards rushing and he still scored 22 points? That's amazing.
Yeah, he had almost nothing before halftime, though. That was.
But shout out to Jaylen Warren. Praise be.
Yeah.
Jaylen Warren.
Yeah, that Gibbs game was one of the ugliest 22-point fantasy games that I've ever seen.
100%. And then the Pittsburgh running back scoring, 50 combined? Over 50? Crazy.
Yeah.
But I do expect the Lions to be Campbell to have them highly motivated just to show up. That's like a pride game here for them, after that wild ending in Detroit. And like you said, they're basically eliminated, not mathematically, but Green Bay's got to lose 2 games and they got to win both. So,
listen, on paper, all these games, we talked about them, but at the same time, we got to remember all these games are on 3 days rest. So anything can happen here. These guys, any of these teams could come out completely flat Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon. I mean, it's, we'll see what happens. I
suspect Detroit is not happy with how things went against Minnesota at their stadium earlier this year. So I think Detroit will come to play for sure.
Yeah. Matt, what do you got?
What do I have here? I mean, you touched on Ashton Jeanty. For me, where does he go next year is like that's going to be fun to see.
Oh, damn, you want to talk about next year already?
No, I'm just saying. He's a guy that I agree with Chris and everybody else. He's immensely talented. Had played behind one of the worst O lines. They had nothing, that team outside of Bowers, and he was hurt. So I mean, that's a guy you got to be excited. What I did, I want to go to the wide receivers here. We touched on the Lions, but over the last 8 games, J-Mo has more receiving yards and more receiving touchdowns than Amon-Ra. I know Amon-Ra left early, but J-Mo does have a game with 0 points in that as well. That's just interesting. The Michael Wilson versus Marvin Harrison Jr., I mean, it's just bizarre, how good this kid is, and then how they play him when Marvin Harrison's there. That's wild. Parker Washington.
That game was a real disappointment. Before you hit Parker Washington, we were all giddy about that Arizona-Atlanta game, and it had potential, and it fizzled out early in the first half. They started moving. They were going up and down the field. It had the big potential. The other game that was just like that was that Dallas Chargers game. If you watch the Dallas Chargers game, it was 17-14 first. I was like, this is 45-42 written all over it. And then the Chargers just went on 2 drives, second half, that were like 10 minutes long each, completely killed the clock. And that's what happens when you have a shit defense like Dallas is, and there's not quick scores. They just ran, first down, ran. And that game was a big disappointment too. A lot of games fizzled out that had that potential for the dream games that we hope for this time of year, where it's a back and forth shootout. And we never got it with both those games. Good stats came out of both, but not what we were hoping for.
Yeah. Just to go on Parker Washington, he's been the number 2 wide receiver for the Jags. They seemed to like him all year. He was very productive. He got banged up. And you saw it. BTJ was the wide receiver 3 in this game. He was only coming in as wide receiver 3. That's going to be interesting in the offseason. I know we talked about that in the chat. What else do I have here?
Wait, Matt, before you empty the clip there, the Parker Washington, we have to go to our resident Parker Washington diehard, Nelson, over here. Nelson, I was thinking of you on Sunday when Parker Washington was going apeshit. Did you have him in lineups? Did you still need him? Or I know we've talked off air that usually Parker Washington is your replacement for T. Higgins when he's half dead. Did you get the T. Higgins shares in and Parker Washington, or what happened?
No, unfortunately, so a couple of things. One, most of those teams weren't sniffing any type of overall race as far as being in contention. And I didn't start him on a lot of teams just for the simple fact that it's at Denver. Thomas is healthy. You got Jacoby Myers. You got Strange. Like I wasn't like bullish on, putting Parker Washington in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough start, right? With Parker Washington. I don't think anybody would have really had him in. But we did talk about, we talked about last week going into that game, and when we were talking about if we're going to stick with Trevor Lawrence, it was the perfect matchup to go against the Denver defense. They have all these weapons. They can dedicate Brian Thomas to get eaten up by Surtain, and then the other guys can eat, like Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers over the middle and Strange. And Strange had a nice game. Obviously, Washington did too. Myers had caught some balls. That offense is just clicking right now, Jacksonville. So I wanted to get back to Parker Washington later on the show. I have a question for you guys, but Parker Washington in this Jags offense really going up and down the field right now.
What we need to touch on, though, the last 2 weeks is the Denver defense has been a sieve in the passing game. And Green Bay was lighting them up. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I got to give the guy credit. He had an easy month for matchups, but he's like 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, looking the part, going into Denver. I mean, that was really impressive how they just manhandled them. I did have one other point I wanted to get, but I think here's the thing. I'll sidetrack to this. I mean, I hate playing the Thursday night games without when it's not my stud players, but I have a situation where it's Troy Franklin versus Adonai Mitchell, and I guess I got to go Troy Franklin, being that Pat Bryant was pretty much killed on that last play.
Yeah, wow. What a shot he took. Oh, my God.
Thankfully, it's only a concussion, and I say only a concussion, which it looked so much worse.
It really did, yeah. And that's the thing, Matt, to your point about Thursday night games, I've found myself this year a lot of times just kind of breaking the tie in favor of the Thursday night guy, which I used to go opposite of that. But now it's gotten to the point where, if you have guys that are unless I'm just absolutely sure I'm going to be able to fill the full lineup on, Sunday and there's no rug pulls or anything like that, I've been just inserting my Thursday night guy just because – if all of a sudden, that guy who's questionable and, he's going to play, and then they pull, like the Jaylen Warren, guess he's not going to play, or the Woody Marks, I guess he's not going to play after all. Those are the kind of things that really hurt if and if you're going into a situation where you're like, hey, I might have to really count on a guy who's questionable, I'm just going to go ahead and put that Thursday guy in and, screw it.
On a side note, real quick, Nelson, I was thinking of you on Sunday with the Parker Washington. And I had the Michael Irvin meme where he's got the belt and he's whipping the Texas A&M.
What a psychopath that guy is.
He's so much fun, though.
He's a good player, Parker Washington.
He is.
You know? Which brings up the debate. If we're thinking about next year, I think that could be a legit scenario where they trade Brian Thomas, especially with them signing Jacoby Myers to an extension. You got Travis Hunter coming back. I don't know. I just don't think there's definitely something up with Thomas and Lawrence.
Thank you. I was ridiculed for that.
I don't know. I've been
offered to put money on it. Nobody wanted to take me up on it. So
I brought that up in September come draft season. I told you guys that our guy Paul Spiteri had an insider and that knows the locker room pretty well over there. Said Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas don't have a good relationship. And once he told me that in August, I jumped ship on Brian Thomas. I don't have any shares of him. So
hopefully he's a Bill.
Yep.
Yeah,
there we go. I tried to get you guys, give you some free money, but nobody wanted to take me up on it. But we'll quickly do a commercial. We'll be right back.
Oh, big news. Fast Draft has 2 best ball tournaments live right now. The Origins All Rookie Game for 2026. That's right. 2026 Best Ball is upon us. All rookies with Origins. $10,000 prize pool. And then we have our playoff Super Slam. You just pick 6 guys for the entire NFL playoffs, and you let it ride. That one also has a $10,000 prize pool. Yes, things are happening at Fast Draft. The code is FAST to get a $50 deposit match. Let's go.
All right, we're back. Chris, where do you want to take it?
Actually, before we jump off to something else, that Parker Washington, I was laughing because when Parker Washington was having that huge game, and now might as well take it into this DK Metcalf news. I don't even know how big of a hit it is because DK Metcalf has been underperforming. Yeah, he had he snuck out a 15-point fantasy game the other day, a Monday Night Football versus Miami in the first week of the playoffs to give you an okay game. He bombed again this past week while he was beating up people in the stands. And now he's suspended, right? So you don't have DK Metcalf going into championship week, but he's appealing it. So I don't know what happens here. If he appeals it until they get in front of the commissioner or something like that, if he can even possibly play this week before the ruling comes down, I don't know what's going to happen there. But ironically, Nelson, in my bullet that I'm going for the overall in this final week, I only got one wide receiver on the bench to fill in for DK, and it's Parker Washington.
There you go.
So I just thought that was.
Are we sure that Parker Washington wouldn't have been better than DK straight up anyway?
I mean, I wish Parker Washington could pull this miracle game out of his ass that he did this past week in championship week. I know the numbers won't be there, but I wouldn't mind a 7 for 70 and a touchdown if he can find the heart to do that for me. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. We've been talking Parker Washington for like 2 months on this show, and I'm gonna need him to come up big in championship week. But Steelers offense, man, they got nothing now with DK out of the offense. Gainwell and Warren. Where are we ranking them here this championship week versus a Browns run defense that James Cook just ran all over? Are these guys borderline RB1s? I mean, the player pool is getting shrunk more and more and more as the weeks go on here. Every team in the top overalls on every contest has the same group of big-time players, like top 15 guys, pretty much mix and mingle of them. What are you guys doing, Warren and Gainwell, and how confident would you be in both?
I think Gainwell he's a top 10 guy for me this week because if you look at 5 of the last 6 games, he scored like 16 plus fantasy points.
Nelson, if you remember about a month ago, I said every year there's a Jerick McKinnon type that carries players through the fantasy playoffs. And I said on this show, Kenny Gainwell is reminding me of this Jerick McKinnon, and he can make that run through the fantasy playoffs. He's got one more week to do it. I know you and Chad have him on that top team, right? Chad's got him on that team. That's big, you know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna step in and hopefully, they follow the Bills' game plan. Cleveland's rush defense has not been good for a while now, and hopefully it's just heavy doses without DK possibly of Warren and Gainwell. Warren basically kept me alive. I got a sweat 24th overall in the Gorilla, so I'm praying he could do it one more time and they can just run all over.
Yeah.
Definitely. Joey Brown
says Gainwell 43 points to Gibbs 32 in the shootout so far. This is what happens. You get guys that carry you all for 14 weeks, and then you plug and play a couple players, and they outscore your superstars. I saw that stat all over Twitter yesterday. What was it? 93 points for Trevor Lawrence, 40 for Josh Allen. I mean, try telling somebody that 2 weeks ago going into the playoffs that you'd rather have Trevor Lawrence than Josh Allen.
It happens all the time. And if you remember, guys, there was one episode where we were talking about where I said, I don't want my teams up at the top of the leaderboard during the regular season for the overall. In the league, give me first place all day long, okay? But for the overall, I don't want to be up there, because what ends up happening is that nucleus of players that you have on your roster are putting up big scores at the wrong time of the year. So I look at it as it just the math ain't mathing when it comes to the shootout. Those guys, that same combination of players are not going to put up those same big games. They've already had those big games. Yeah. So we see it all the time. Jonathan Taylor absolutely carried teams to the fantasy playoffs. Now in the shootout, nothing. Jahmyr Gibbs, monster, okay? And single-digit game, and then one of the ugliest 22-point games I've ever seen. He was lucky to get that, the way that game was going, right? Josh Allen, same thing. Listen, there's still a week left, and those guys are monsters that they're capable of putting up a 40 and get you right back in it, and then we forget about all the bad games. But I'm just saying that's what it seems like it happens every year, is you have certain guys that carry you, and then they come up small, when you really, when it's magnified, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at Jonathan Taylor as the example. Look, the guy was RB1 for the first 10 weeks, and I don't think he's been above RB16 since then. And it's not all his fault. I mean, that team got, lost the quarterback and all that. But, that just happens. Like we talked the middle of the season. Who's going to be the second half MVPs? There's always first half MVPs and then second half. So,
yeah. Dan, throw up Uno's question there. Mike Edelman. We call him Uno because he gets all the number one picks in all our fantasy drafts. He's got a debate. I know Mike's got 27 teams in the running here for an overall in all events. Nice. And one of them, he's got Gainwell or Mike Evans, which that's a tough one. I don't know. You guys, any opinion on that one? You get Evans versus the Dolphins secondary in another game in warm weather. Okay, that's a game that, could be played in the high 20s, early 30s. I would think you would want Mike Evans in there, but how do you go away from Gainwell this championship week?
I'm going to say play both. So I need to know the rest of the roster, because
exactly
those are two guys that I want to stick in lineups. I'm jamming them in somehow.
Yeah. I know Mike's got some loaded lineups that I've seen just clicking on his teams in the overall, and they might actually just be able to get one of those guys in there. He's got
what team is this, Mike? What roster are we talking about here?
I don't know. Uno,
click on it.
Give us your lineup there, Uno. JSN, right, Pickens, and Olave. Imagine this.
All right,
this is when the rich get richer, guys. JSN, Puka, and George Pickens are his top three. That's why Evans and Gainwell are the only options at play. Oh, in the bullet where he's gonna eat my dinner. He's gonna.
All right, so he's got those 3 receivers, so he's only got 1 spot. Who's his running backs?
Yeah, Mike. Who's your other 2 running? Oh, I think he's got CMC. I know that much on that team. So he's got CMC locked in, and he's got another stud.
CMC
Oh my God, Chase Brown.
Chase Brown.
Christ. How does this team not put up 250?
Let me ask you guys this: does it matter who he puts in there at this point? I mean,
He's going to leave
the rest of his team
bench.
is totally
It doesn't matter if you
I
can
should have known this
maximize it.
team. I actually should have known this team because yesterday or 2 days ago, I was texting him and I said, I never seen a team more loaded than your bullet team. So now it's all coming back to me because I was looking at it and I was like, how the hell do you have all these guys on one team and you're not leading the overall by like 100 points already? But
Did you see the Guilds team that's in second in the OC overall?
loaded? I'm telling you, these teams
that was something, man.
they're all rising like to the top. I know my friend Lou Weber, he's top 5. He's got a team that I'm like, oh my God, all the names we're talking: Puka, Olave, JSN, CMC. It's just crazy.
Was Olave like the pick of the draft because he was 8th round? So, I mean, maybe that's more FFPC. But
Yeah, Olave was more 5th, 6th round, but he was a big target of mine this year. People were scared of Olave, but target-wise, I didn't think anybody in those mid-rounds were going to see as many targets and talent-wise as Olave. And now it's, he's got big numbers written all over him.
All right, Mike's got to make up 31 points in the silver bullet, so I'm going to tell him go Evans.
Evans. All right. He says Evans. Kenny Gainwell's on the bench. I think I would go Evans myself, to be honest. I would make it up by saying, like, it's a player that's going to probably be out on the field 85% of the time over Gainwell.
Baker was just trying to force feed him. I mean,
Yeah.
that interception was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they weren't too busy trying to run the ball all the time.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still on me or anything, but the one thing I wanted to talk about last night's game, this 49ers Colts explosion and the 49ers offense that we've been talking about for weeks could be that money-making offense. Now fantasy owners have a real problem on their hand because late in the game, 4th quarter, George Kittle went down. He didn't look like he had any hope of coming back in the game, the way he was dragging his leg to the sideline. George Kittle always shows up in the fantasy playoffs with a big game. He probably would have added another 8 to 10 fantasy points onto his total last night if he stayed in that game.
To your point there, Chris,
Yeah.
I was 2 Kittle yards away from winning a game when he went down with that injury. 2 yards. That's it. That's all I needed. Oh,
Yeah, that's brutal.
What about the call of the game when they didn't challenge the Towns touchdown and then he threw it to CMC?
Oh, my God.
For me, that was huge.
And for me, that was backbreaking. But, it's a Sunday night game. So be prepared to sweat, Kittle owners. Unless you get definitive news. But if they give him one of those game time decisions, and with all, again, the reason why I'm bringing it up is you might have backups to Kittle that are playing on Thursday, playing on Saturday, and you have to make the move because you only have 2 tight ends on your fantasy roster in these shootouts, and you can't wait until Sunday or else you risk taking a 0. So now here comes the headaches all week long. So I'm not a Kittle owner, but for all of you that are and are probably up top or in the running for something, get ready to panic.
And let's just give a shout out to Alec Run Rudolph Pierce, who I did say was dead last week, but praise be, Christmas came early.
Stevie G. By the way, wait, we got a lot of.
That's what was killing me. As Matt's like, no, he's dead. And
Nelson
I'm
said
like,
the same
fine,
thing.
I guess we won't talk about Alex Pierce.
And I confirmed.
I mean, Rivers' skill set doesn't fit what Pierce does.
100%.
The difference
I
last
totally
night.
agree.
The difference when I did Sunday night and then again Monday morning is they were an underdog of what, 5-6 points going into that game, and the Niners were starting to back up cornerback against him, and I figured they had to take some shots. They were going to be trailing. His lowest reception, I think, is like 16 yards, so like for his under-overs this season. So.
Yeah, Matt. Scott Kobe is asking the question we all want to know: who's dead this week, so we can go.
I did not play Alec Pearson fantasy last week.
Yeah, what I noticed with that offense was they were having Rivers push the ball down the field a lot more.
Rivers looked good last night, didn't he?
He looked great. I loved how they were running that offense, allowing him the hurry up, allowing him to get to the line and audible.
My God, the guy, he knew the whole offense. Did you hear him? Every time he was dictating the offense, getting them out of plays, getting them in he rotating guys. It was crazy.
I think they did the Niners a favor when they were running the ball because they were passing all over them. That whole first half. I know it's JT, but they just seem to have that niche.
And that's another game indoors this week. The Jags red hot offense, and there was talk last night. I don't know why Aikman and Buck were talking about why would you play Rivers these last 2 weeks? Turn it over to Riley Leonard now. I'm hoping that it's at least 1 week away, and if they go to Rivers one more time, if that's even true, because that game, these two offenses can move the ball up and down the field. Hopefully, Sauce Gardner's out 1 more week for the Jaguars' offense's sake. But,
personally, I just don't see how you get Rivers to come out of basically retirement, have him play 2 competitive games, and then you tell him, hey, we're shutting you down. We're going to go with Riley.
Especially that the game is in Indianapolis. Don't you want to give your fans that treat of getting to see Phillip Rivers and then the excitement around him and the offense? I
think you got to play it out another week.
Yeah. And I don't think they're automatically eliminated yet. So if you're still mathematically in it somehow, I haven't looked at the
2% chance according to ESPN.
I think the Texans got to lose both games. They got to win both, and they play the Texans week 8.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Some other things have to happen too.
2%.
There is a chance. There is a chance.
If there's a chance, then Rivers has to be the quarterback. That's it.
I agree.
Story.
And the Lions have a chance too.
Yeah, I want to get this in. Our boy Steve G, he's been with us all year long on the show, every episode. He's leading the Platinum, the biggest league in the NFFC going into the championship week. I think he got pretty banged up, his players. He has to start Taj Brooks in the Platinum this week.
He lost Trevion and Judkins.
Say what happened?
He has no Trevion and Judkins.
Well, he's got to be on Trevion watch now. Obviously, that was one of my observations. What do you do with Trevion? I mean, not that you have anything to do with him, but you're on Trevion Henderson protocol watch all week long now. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's some good news. Actually, they're playing. Are they the Saturday game? No, they're Sunday. They're Sunday. Yeah. No, they're Sunday, and they get the dream matchup versus the Jets in championship week. A game that their running backs will probably be counted on to, run out the clock and get all the garbage time points between him and Ramondre. So hopefully the concussion protocol goes okay throughout the week. And all you Henderson lovers and owners on Sunday can get him in one final time instead of Steve having to play Taj Brooks.
I can't remember, Chris, but I want to say there was a player that cleared the same week. When they were in the concussion protocol this season, and I can't remember who it was, but it was a fantasy player.
Yeah, I know exactly.
It was, what I'm saying, it was like a position player, and
there have been a handful that have cleared. Most of them have been kind of more, very fringe players or whatever. But generally, the way I look at it is if they don't even do a limited practice on Wednesday, you got about a 5% chance that they're going to play. And if they don't get at least a limited practice on Thursday, then it's it. It's over.
Yeah. Scott Kobe says CD Lamb, but CD Lamb doesn't count because he got his concussion on a Thursday night and he was good to go the following Sunday. We're talking more about Sunday to Sunday. I know for a fact
and
one
Sunday night
time,
that.
because I was waiting on it, was Cole Kmet got a concussion on a Sunday. He played the following Sunday because we were all excited about Loveland getting the whole tight end position to himself, and he wound up doing it. That's a good one, Steve G. Yes, Marvin Harrison is probably who you're thinking of. He got that concussion indoor versus the Texans. I want to not the Texans,
Colts.
the Colts.
Colts.
He got it versus the Colts on a Sunday, and I remember us all talking about saying he didn't look that bad. He was walking off the field, and he cleared, and he played the following week.
That's the one.
Yep.
So there's a chance. There's a possibility. It's usually a 1 week absence, but there's a chance Trevion could clear.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. So I think sometimes we're looking for games where we can eke out a few points or whatever. If you've got injury problems like that, New Orleans against Tennessee, I think, is going to be a sneaky fantasy game this week. I really like that one. Both offensive have kind of started to come alive a little bit. So I think this one could be the over. I think we're going to have some players in there that, we've been getting great results out of Chris's guy, Tony Pollard, and then Olave is kind of the last man standing in New Orleans. So,
what about playoff Spears? Puts up 20 on my bench.
Yeah, exactly. And Spears came to life too this week. So.
We got robbed of a Tony Pollard touchdown late in that game. I don't know if you saw that debacle.
I did not.
Yeah.
First and goal on the 1 yard line. He walks it in, and they call a holding, a bullshit phantom holding or something like that.
Cam Ward, since the break, has been playing much better as well.
Yeah.
Yes, he has. Yeah. And Tyler Shuck, I mean, he's been, like a legit low-end fantasy starter. Like if you had injury problems at quarterback, Shuck has been,
Yeah, but as I said last week, there was the debate, you play Shuck over Stafford, and again, I said, much as they said the other guy was dead, but no, they were. You guys said they were right behind each other. You're looking at rankings and stuff. I was like, there's no way I'm sitting Stafford. Even in a tough matchup. Hindsight.
We never talked about that. Yeah, I mean, again, we do the show all the way on Tuesday, and then we forget about that Thursday nighter. But oh my God, the Stafford Puka connection. With all that bad weather, and everybody was running scared from Stafford, including me. I didn't have much Stafford, but I would have looked elsewhere. As we were getting the Bryce Young or Matt Stafford, the Tyler Shuck or Matt Stafford questions. People had Stafford ranked 15th, as their quarterback, and then they go and deliver that back and forth miracle dream game. Just goes to show that check a box for all the stick with your studs and start your studs, players out there.
Shout out to Scott Kobe, who's low-key actually looking for which quarterback is going to go off this week by asking us, who would you start Tyler Shuck over this week? So that's whatever that answer is, that's a quarterback who's going off this week.
There you go.
All right, Nelson, what you got?
I think looking again, I'm focused on the overall shootout and how this fantasy season ends, and looking at that Monday and Sunday night game, where we got the Rams against the Falcons. So you have Bijan and Pitts that are going to be on a bunch of teams that are up there in the overall, and then you got Puka, Stafford, and possibly Kyron that are going to be up there in the overall. And like there's going to be some sweats this year, I think. And then the Sunday night game with the 49ers, like that, you're going to have CMC, possibly Kittle, possibly Jawan Jennings, Purdy teams that are going to be up there. The Bears, maybe not so much. I don't think there's like necessarily, too many guys that have like overperformed here in the first 2 weeks of the shootout that are going to be up there. But
Nelson, DJ Moore right now is on a couple teams that are up top in these overalls because of slipping them in. And he's obviously very low owned, and he's going to be a major piece in this championship week here. If Burden or Odunze don't come back, or at least one of them come back. But DJ Moore's had 2 good games now. And I want to say that the guy who's leading the bullet has DJ Moore in the guy that I'm chasing down. And I'm petrified. If none of these guys come back and you give me DJ Moore versus that Niners secondary, he's a wide receiver 1 going into this final week in my eyes.
If Burden comes back, I'm probably going to ladder him.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to go with that matchup. I'm hoping that's a replay of last night's game. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Bears are they're just wild. That Saturday game, they had no business even being in that game, let alone winning that game. And I got to give Caleb credit. That was a fantastic throw. Fantastic. But for most of that game, he was horrible.
Yeah, Nelson, sorry.
No, it was just more of an observation.
Rams Atlanta.
Yeah, with so many relevant fantasy players involved in those games, that it's going to come down to that. Because I know in prior years, I can remember where, the final game wasn't all that exciting. It was kind of like, okay, it's the overalls are kind of decided. Nobody's really got anyone going from these games, but I think this year there's going to be a lot of movement.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this week is set up again. We've had 2 high-scoring weeks now. A lot of people were talking about how this second week was like not that high-scoring, but I think the late games on Sunday and then last night's game made the scores pretty high. I saw a lot of teams in the 190s or low 200s again this week in the NFFC. Not as crazy as week 1 of the fantasy playoffs, but I think we can all say that it's been a very high-scoring fantasy shootout, right, between the 2 weeks here. And when you look at the schedule here in the 3rd week, I think we're in line for another high-scoring week. So I think the numbers that you'll see in the championship, the overalls will probably be breaking records overall point-wise across the board. Whoever wins these things. Nelson, Chad dropped a 265 in week 1 and then followed up with a 190?
It was 178.
178. Okay, so 178, which is a really solid score. I mean, you drop a 175, that'll probably break a record for a 3-week shootout right there between the numbers. But my point is this: you look at the schedule this week. And besides that Ram Atlanta game, you have the Arizona Cincinnati game with a ton of pieces in it, which if the weather is okay, which we haven't gotten into the week yet to see if weather can F these games up, but that game should be played in the mid 50s. Jags and Colts indoors. Tampa, Miami has potential for big numbers. The Giants and Vegas, I think, to Dan's point of the Saints and Titans being an under the radar higher scoring game, I could see the Giants and Vegas playing a 27-24 game. These defenses suck, and Dart and Geno, with the pieces that they have, could put some numbers up on the board here. Okay? And then San Francisco and the Bears. So you're looking at 6 or 7 games. Oh my God, I can't believe that's just crazy. I didn't even realize. That's crazy. I just stopped mid-set. So you're looking at, I'm going to like 5 or 6 games or 7 or 8 games that have potential to put up a lot of points. You don't have a dud schedule here in the championship week. So look for another high-scoring week.
It might be the Jack Besh breakout game.
Don't make me, Nelson, don't make me break out Jack Besh in the New York Super on you again.
That'd be exciting if you had to put him in.
Yeah, I know it would be, but you know what, Nelson, Matt, it's funny that you just said that, and I hate when I don't want to make it about myself here with lineup decisions, but my New York Super lineup is pretty much locked in. I have no bench, but the one guy I have is Xavier Worthy in my flex. I want no piece of Xavier Worthy. No piece of him in my lineup this week versus Denver on Christmas Day. I only have one guy on the bench that's playable, and it's Jack Besh.
I'd play him.
I'm telling you, Nelson might get his wish.
I'm
I'd
not
play
even
him,
kidding
Chris.
with you. I'm being, I would play
Nelson, I can't trust your word right now. But
Not calling for lineup
I will
advice
say
on that
this. I will say this. Right now, it's a 50-50 decision for me, Besh or Xavier Worthy. That's how bare minimum. Thank God this season is coming to an end because I can't go much further with some of these playoff teams. Like I told you, I got one piece left on the bench on a lot of these teams in the running. So that's
Chris,
it.
you're just
They're
hoping for
putting to
6,
the
7
finish
points
line.
out of Besh or Worthy, right?
Say that again?
You're just hoping for 6, 7 points out of Besh or Worthy?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, even Worthy, like I got excited again just this past week when Rice got ruled out. I was like, all right, this is going to be a game where Worthy could give me like a 17, something like that.
I said the same thing, Chris.
Yeah.
I was like, Worthy,
Minshew-
Franklin, or Spears. And Spears was obviously the player.
In fairness, it probably would have played out that way, and he probably would have scored like 20 if Minshew didn't get hurt.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side, Worthy had a 0 when Minshew went out in like the second quarter. And I didn't have my eyes. Once Minshew went out, I aborted mission in that game. I had nothing going really with that game. He caught 2 balls for 42 yards. So this kid that came in that none of us know anything about, maybe they have a rapport with each other.
That would be something, though, if Worthy went off the week 17. Yeah.
Matt, that's what, and I'm going to tell you, watch. That's what's going to happen. Watch. Worthy's going to give like a 15 to 20 point fantasy game on Christmas Day if Rice sits out again, and he's going to be on my bench for the first time. Terrible.
Yeah, you were talking about weather, Chris. Looks like I was just looking up, and of course this is early in the week, so who knows what'll happen by Sunday. But Eagles at Bills, likely snow showers. About 15-mile-an-hour winds expected. So, but that could be,
Well, out here in
Josh
Tennessee,
Allen and Cook, and I don't know if it really affects these two teams as much as it would some teams.
Yeah.
well, if you're looking to play the Tennessee Saints game, like everybody's saying, it's going to be 72 on Christmas Day here. So we're looking like we're going to have a really nice weekend.
Yeah, they're saying chance of rain showers there, but who knows? I mean,
That's the big game, Dad. That's the big game we still haven't mentioned yet. Was that Eagles versus Bills this Sunday? And it's going to be weather related there. So, obviously big pieces. James Cook is running wild. It's a big game. Josh Allen goes and kills his owners this past week, but I'm sure some people still are relying on Josh Allen in championship week here. That's a major game that we didn't speak about. And I was going to be locked in on seeing the weather, but like you said, snow showers. It's more about the wind in Buffalo. You could deal with some snow showers and the cold. It's just a matter of how windy it's going to be. You said what, 15-mile-an-hour wind?
15 mile an hour, yeah, and it's more about like if it's 15, that's not a big deal. It's when you get those 30, 40 mile an hour gusts. That's when it gets crazy. Otherwise, I don't even worry about it. And if I do worry about it, I just worry about the kickers for the most part.
I mean, shout out to the Bills for their new stadium. It's going to be open air. It's not going to be a dome in Buffalo, but
Hooray.
Supposedly with the technology, like those wind gusts aren't going to affect it inside. That's what they're saying and all that. So if they can, do that, that's perfect because football does need to be outside. I know for fantasy we want everything in the dome on the track, but
yeah, I miss the old Met Stadium in Minnesota. It's been a long time since we.
I don't know how you guys play. I remember a Monday night football game late in December years ago with Minnesota and the Bears, and the game was basically unplayable. Dan, it was probably about 10 years ago when they were playing outside. It was like negative 20. It was just. I was like, this isn't football.
Yeah, it was after the dome went down. They had that game with the Bears, and then they had a playoff game against the Seahawks. It was like, ended up being 13-12 or 12-10, I think it was. And our stupid kicker could not hit from 30 yards away.
Yeah. I hate that when that. Shout out to our boy Scotty the King Angle. He's relishing his Seahawks in first place.
Go
Merry
King.
Christmas to him. Anybody worried about primetime Kirk Cousins versus the Rams on Monday night? Yeah, I mean, how can you not worry about Kirk Cousins blowing up in the negative way? That's Rob Fisher's question. That's going to be interesting because, like Nelson said, there's a lot of pieces in that final game. I know that's my biggest game come Monday.
I want to say Kirk Cousins, the last few primetime games he's been in, he's played all right. I mean, early in his career, that was definitely a –
did it on Thursday night last week versus Tampa.
Yeah. So I think Kirk might be over that. He'll probably play fine. I'm not worried about that one.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you
Herbert
guys
or
got?
Hurts? There's a good question.
Herbert or Hurts? Well, Herbert's got the Texans defense this upcoming.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in playing Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you had this issue, and I'm sure you went Herbert this past week, you cashed in on his points. I'd be a little worried going into this one. Guys, I selfishly have a question for you. Purdy versus the Bears or Hurts versus the Bills? What would you guys do this championship week?
I'm probably going Purdy because he's just too hot right now. And
Purdy.
they got a chance to get this 1 seed.
Hmm.
They got the Super Bowl in San Fran.
Nelson, you going away from start your studs and go to your bench on this one or no?
I don't know. I mean that Buffalo game against the Eagles has potential for a shootout.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you right now, as I'm thinking about it, it's going to come down to the Kittle news for me. If Kittle's out,
That's fair. That's a good point.
If I hear about Kittle not being ready to go this Sunday, I'll go with Hurts.
Here's the one thing with Hurts in the last couple of games. They're starting to call false starts on the tush push and stuff, and he hasn't been getting those tush pushes, and that's a big difference. I mean, Buffalo's run defense is awful, though. So,
yeah, well, that's scary to me, the Buffalo run. They just it might be a Barkley game, especially if the weather is bad. So, one of my big decisions for this final week. Who's got a big lineup decision going this week between all you guys? Off the top of your heads. Nelson, what do you got?
I haven't even.
No, you haven't dove in yet?
I mean,
I haven't dove in yet.
Okay.
Like I said, for me, in the Gorilla, that's 24th overall. The one thing I got to decide on is Troy Franklin versus Adonai Mitchell. And like I said, I don't think the Chiefs' defense, a lot of guys were sitting and a lot of guys are banged up. So I don't know. But I hate the Thursday.
It's Troy Franklin for me, especially with Pat Bryant out. Adonai Mitchell will probably see a lot of Christian Gonzalez. So I don't know.
Though he did play, I mean, he couldn't catch the ball, but he was cooking him. But it is Cook quarterbacking. So
Scott Colby's got Marty, our boy Marty, Allen or Stafford.
All right. Before we get into that, though, let's do our second break here real quick.
Yeah, hit it then.
All right, here we go.
And we're back.
Thank you, Nelson.
you waited the 5 seconds this time, Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson was delayed on that one. Nelson was delayed.
So
Allen or Stafford for Marty?
I think I got to go with the MVP right now. I got to go with Stafford.
Oh, Drake May? He wasn't part of the equation, Matt.
No, look, I love Drake May, but Matthew Stafford is the MVP this year. You look at the touchdowns, you look at the schedule that he played against the schedule that May played, and I love Drake May.
Please.
I was calling him Lisan Al-Gaib last year.
I could get off the couch and throw 30 touchdowns.
Come on. It's. I will say this: what the F were the Ravens doing? Not running Derrick Henry in the last 12 minutes. I mean, as a Bills fan, I wanted them to win, so they had a shot at the AFC East. But, I mean, Harbaugh has made some horrible coaching decisions this year.
And the thing is, I could see it if they wanted to put Keaton Mitchell in there and he ripped off a 25-yard run and they said, okay, let's put him in there, let's give him another carry and then let's give him another carry. But, I mean, his final stat line was 9 for 13. 9 for 13. And this is a guy you're throwing in for an entire series?
But he didn't learn from the Bengals game on Thanksgiving when Henry was just killing the Bengals.
Right.
And he stopped
exactly.
playing in that game, too.
I mean, I don't see how you can sit there and keep going back to the Keaton Mitchell, play after play on that drive, and it's not working, and you're going, yeah, but we're still going to leave Henry on the bench, even though Henry has been absolutely destroying these guys. Makes no sense.
Criminal.
Yeah.
Harbaugh might
Speaking
be out
of,
after this year.
what about
think so,
Lamar
too.
Jackson? I mean, is he a guy you can even trust if he plays this week?
Trust. I mean, who's got Lamar still going? On
Yeah,
the late round
even
bracket?
if you were alive, you can't play.
I mean, I don't know. I hesitate to call players soft because, my God, these are NFL players. I mean, compared to me, none of them are soft. But yeah, Lamar,
But you know what? Next year he's going to be discounted, and then he's going to have an MVP-like season. So, it seems to be the way. He has like those on and off years. Like he gets the injury, but
Yeah.
He's got no immune system. We know that. Or he's allergic to practice or something. I'm not sure what.
Well, yeah. Who's next?
I'll hit defense. What do you guys? We are famously a kicker and defense show, so I think we got
Shout
to
out
lean
to you,
into it a
Dan.
little bit.
Yeah,
I actually have that
just play all
written down.
three defenses that are playing on Christmas.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to go. I don't hate that one at all.
It might be my top three. To be honest.
I mean, if you've hung on to Detroit all this time, I mean, this is when you definitely
Oh,
want to
that's
play
a
them.
terrible defense, but shit. Yeah, how do you not play them? Yeah, but man,
Yeah.
the Lions defense sucks. But Dan, shout out to you who about a month and a half ago on this show said to pick up the Saints defense for the fantasy playoffs. And we all said, Dan, are you on drugs? And then who was the number one? I think they were the number one defense by far.
They were.
This past week
Yeah.
with 20 fantasy points, NFFC, the Saints defense. And in a week where defenses sucked again, like, I don't know, guys, what defenses gave double-digit points this second week of the fantasy playoffs?
Giants,
Yep.
16.
Okay, so nobody has the Giants other than me in an auction league, I think. If you remember me telling you, I picked up the Giants for the Ravens, and I played them in week one, the Ravens, the Giants, and got it like a 5. But regardless, the Giants defense, yes, they had a good one, but probably less than 5% in people's lineups, right?
Texans with 12 points.
they got the
Okay,
pick
still
six.
not. Okay.
49ers, how did they do? They
49ers with
come up.
12.
Oh my God,
Okay.
12.
That
Yeah,
pick
they got
six was.
12.
By the way, that Brock Purdy interception, as much as I needed him in my gorilla, that was the greatest thing because they got the ball back one more time.
They so anyway, it was a bad week for defenses again, and look, other than a couple, like Nelson just said, scoring 12 points, the Saints were by far they were the separator. They gave you the 20 fantasy points. Other than that, defenses are really struggling.
You got to feel good if you got the Patriots. I know they're banged up.
Yeah,
they
sure.
haven't been the same run defense as they were early in the year, shutting everybody down. But you still got CG Island. You get the Jets with Cook. So,
Yep.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
New
I'm trying
Orleans
to think-
defense gets Tennessee this week, so that's not a bad matchup. I mean, I do think Tennessee is going to score points on them, but I think there are going to be some sacks.
I kind of like Tennessee this week. I'll be honest with you. I really at home, and their run defense has been really good. They ain't running the ball. They got nobody. I mean, maybe it was just his last game with the team, Tyson Hill. That was pretty wild.
I'll tell you, just from owning them in some leagues here for this final week, and Matt, you touched on it earlier, how they're falling apart a little bit. but they've been playing good offenses, is the Broncos defense now. When I had the Broncos defense all year long, I was loving it. Them and the Texans were the top 2 fantasy defenses and top units. And then you look down the road and you're like, yeah, but I should bring in another defense on these teams because I don't want to start them versus Mahomes and the Chiefs in championship week on the road, And then sure enough, now look, you look up and the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs anymore. Broncos are in line to have hopefully a decent day defensive wise versus whoever the kid is that's that quarterback. So that's probably a top 3 defense this week too.
There's a few of them actually in good spots this week.
Is Cam Little the kicker of the week?
That'd be nice. That'd be nice to have too.
Yeah. He's playing.
He's playing at Indianapolis.
At Indianapolis, I think that's a good one. I think Bears kicker Santos.
Yes,
against San Francisco. That should be a shootout game.
How about Pinheiro? Right before the half, that was some kick.
Oh yeah,
64 yards. That was some.
Almost got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pinheiro is also good. You could take either side on that one. Obviously, Aubrey and Dicker, Cowboys and Chargers kickers are looking good this week.
I mean, it's obviously I'm hoping San Francisco and the Bears is the KC Rams game from years ago.
I'll tell you a little story for Sunday morning. So I'm talking with Chad, and he's got a bunch of leagues where he does like the big paybacks in FFPC, and you still have waivers. And then he does a lot of these like private leagues where the software's on Yahoo that they do. And it's like first come, first serve. So like on Sunday morning, you can just go in and, grab a player, drop a player, right? And he's looking at kickers. So he's trying to grind everything, right? So he's analyzing kickers, and he's like, he goes to me and goes, "Hey, got Pinheiro, but like, what do you think of Charlie Smith from the Saints?" And I was like, you know what? Like, Pinheiro's in a good spot, but like, I like Charlie Smith. I'm like, he might be in an even better spot. I go Charlie Smith. So he just went like wholesale, dropped like basically every kicker, not named Aubrey, Fairbairn, and
Dicker.
Who's the other?
Myers, Dicker,
Dicker and Myers. Myers had already played, so like none of those guys. But he dropped everybody else and just picked up Charlie Smith.
All in on one kicker.
Wow.
Yeah, highest scoring kicker of the week.
Wow.
He got a 3-year deal the week before. The Irish guy from Ireland, right?
Yep. So, just a funny story how like you.
I don't think I could have done that.
Over analyzing a kicker situation and ends up with the highest score of the week. So
and he had Pinheiro, who's
really I don't think I could have dropped Pinheiro for him. I'd have been like, no, I'm not going to touch Pinheiro. I'm leaving him in, and no way I'm going to pick up this guy for the Saints, who you still have a hard time trusting.
Yeah, I don't know. The kid's got a big leg, and like if you watch him kick, like. It's solid. Like he missed that 61-yarder or whatever, but like all his other kicks, you can just tell like they don't fade. They're like right on point. So that's I'll give you the little tidbit for next year. That's gonna be the kicker to draft is Charlie Smith.
Charlie Smith. Charlie M. Maybe pop your eyes out for Charlie. Little movie reference there. Charlie Smith, good kicker. Nelson, is Chad in the running FFPC? Somebody told me he's up top in the FFPC.
Yeah,
as well.
He's up there.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got 3 teams in the top 8.
Like how far off from the leader?
Hang on.
So his third place team right now is 12 points away.
12 out. So
12 out.
So he's live championship week.
Yeah. So he's got that one, the prime time, obviously, and then he's got I believe a second or third place team in the FFWC and a couple other teams like in the top.
Imagine if he sweeps every.
He told me he might retire.
If he did that, everybody would have to force him to retire. Like, you know what? Nobody's playing anymore.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. But
That is.
imagine his sweat. Imagine, like, people say to me, like, Chris, how do you follow on a Sunday? Who are you rooting for? How do you do this? Like, you know, and I'm just like, whatever. I just sit and watch and root for my highest percent owner players or whatever. But imagine a guy like Chad who's got all this going on a final week, and he's got to be like, yes, no, oh, like.
I think it's very actually his reactions are very similar to us, where I think it's the same. I haven't really watched games with you guys, but I think this is how you guys react. Like the higher owned player, you get a lot more hyped up for that scores a touchdown, and then the guy that you have a little bit of, he scores, and you're like, okay. And then the guy that you basically faded or whatever, or don't have much of, you're like, fuck, you know, you get upset. It's the same thing. But what's funny is with his process, he sends me like after the 4:00 games for Sunday night, and then again before Monday night, he'll send me this like 2-page essay of like a breakdown of all the close matches.
Are you shitting me? Really?
He goes through that process.
And he'll send you a list like by Sunday night and even Monday about, you know, down 7 points in main events 13. And I got, you know, this player versus this player, you know, whatever.
100%.
Wow.
That's crazy. I mean, he's got like 45 minutes on Sunday night a lot of times after the late afternoon games end.
Yeah. Just goes through like, all right, head to head, you know, what do we got? What, you know, we're up 17. He's got so-and-so, you know, down, whatever. He's just, and it's usually like 2 pages long on a, you know, Excel spreadsheet.
Wow.
But like that, like when he says like, he's like exhausted, toast or whatever, like, yeah.
I think we're all like, you know, I just said this to somebody yesterday. I was like, I'm ready for it to be over now. Like, you know, we got one final week here. Like, I'm running on fumes. You know, we didn't talk about last week how nice it was to not have Fab to do for the first time going into the playoffs. You know, that was just a relief. Nelson, we talked, you know, about like what the hell. Like, I went out to dinner that night. I was like, my Tuesday's open. Like, you know, just to take that whole process out away from us after 14 weeks of grinding to not have your Tuesday and Wednesday all eaten up by doing the fab and the work and everything like that. It's been nice, but then, you know, you're still stressing these playoff teams and putting the work in there. But now that we're at the final week here, it's going to be nice to go sit on a beach somewhere and not have to do any of it.
But I'm going to miss Sundays.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm going to
no
miss
exaggeration. When I said that I didn't know what to do with myself on it's Wednesday, and I really like you're so locked into a process and the same repetitive routine. I honestly didn't know. Like I was walking around like the house, just I like didn't know what to do. No idea.
Wife's giving you chores. Yeah. Chores.
Like,
hey, you want me to bring the garbage out? You brought it out already an hour ago, honey. You know, like, go get the tree up. You know, it's definitely crazy this time of year. And Matt, I mean, we're all gonna miss it, the weekends and stuff. But I actually enjoy after the 17 weeks is over, just watching the football playoffs with no stress. You know, I know we all do the fantasy playoff contest, but there's no stress involved. You set it, you watch football, you enjoy it for a month and a half. But when that AFC NFC championship game day is over and you got it's just the Super Bowl and you know it's all over again, it's a dark feeling. It sucks.
Yeah, so a couple of comments in the chat. So Steve, shots fired. So he's saying he's hoping Chad doesn't retire from the contained leagues. Chad didn't have the greatest year in the platinum and a few of the
He
big
killed it
leagues
in the
over at
diamonds.
FFPC.
Steve's not in my diamond because Chad won both record and point, and in the other diamond he won one of them. So
He won one of
he
them.
took
Yeah.
30 out of 40,000 available right there. So that's
pretty fucking good.
yeah, that's pretty good. He might have not had a good platinum league. But
Yeah, platinum sucked, and it started off well. It was Chase Achan to start the draft, but then went Burrow and something else, and it kind of injuries and things like that.
Yeah.
But FFPC, he struggled over there in like the 10K leagues and stuff over there.
Yeah. He's a couple days away from making it all up. So
Yeah, he's got 3 of the top 8.
I mean, shit.
And he got back most of his money, like he said in that tweet. He basically recouped the majority of it.
Yeah, he's profitable right now today because of all the head-to-head leagues, he ran really well this week in a lot of those leagues, and it was like it's 15. Second place is like guaranteed like 15K, 25K in a lot of these leagues he's in. So that adds up real quick.
I mean, just that volume and to be able to put up that, get that money back and stuff. It's like you said, he's doing 2-page reports on Sunday nights.
Yeah,
That's why he's,
That's what mystifies me about that, because it's like, there's no real, like you're not learning anything long term from putting together these reports, are you? I mean, like it just seems like it's a lot of extra effort and you're not getting anything other than just knowing who to root for.
So for him, he wants to know exactly what his sweat is.
Yeah,
I think we all do. I mean, listen, I don't know what your guys'
Right.
process is, but I know as soon as the 4 p.m. games are over and you have like that 30, 45-minute window before the Sunday nighter starts, I'm scrambling going through all my leagues and seeing like what do we got going here, I can only imagine timesing that by 10 and what Chad has going, and then writing a spreadsheet and an essay,
right, yeah,
everything like that. I'm doing it by like memory. Like, all right, this prime time, I need this to happen. This, like all these leagues.
Seems to me all the effort he's putting in the rest of the week, I'd be like, you know what? Let me just relax for a couple minutes, and go through and still see what you need. But I don't think I'd be putting together the spreadsheet. But
no, I mean, I give him credit just for the fact
that's what makes Chad, I guess.
After the 4 o'clocks, between fantasy, between whatever bets I had, I mean, I am mentally exhausted. Like, your brain, like that, at 6 o'clock out here, 7 o'clock out east, you pretty much friggin', I'm up since, 5, 6 in the morning, too.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's a long day for sure.
Yep.
All right, what else we got?
By the way, do we think that Rashee Rice is even going to – I mean, I don't know how much it even matters, but with a Thursday game and really no reason for him to rush back, and the fact that it wasn't even like – I know he got his concussion on Sunday, but the symptoms hit on Wednesday when all that news broke midweek. Do we even see Rashee Rice on Christmas Day for the Chiefs?
I don't think so.
I'd be surprised. I
mean,
I
what's
think
the
his
point of throwing
symptoms
him out
did hit
there?
Monday, but they didn't report it until Wednesday.
Yeah,
But maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know.
No, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the practice report is today for him. Josh Jacobs, another one. I don't know what's going to happen with him. And if Josh Jacobs, if they sit him out this week, and that's a shit show. We didn't even talk about the Packers offense here. Jordan Love is in the concussion protocol. The kid Willis, who is a nightmare for any passing game offense, he's hurt too. So the Packers offense there's some offenses that are really in shambles going into championship week that you would want to avoid on wholesale. But question to you guys is, if Josh Jacobs sits and you look on your bench, is Emmanuel Wilson in your lineups? Granted, I know it depends on who your options are and stuff, but where would we have Emmanuel Wilson championship week to come in and save the Packers offense?
I mean, he's got to be up there if we
He's
know
already
that.
2 territory.
Yeah,
High end, low end,
high end.
top 15, or
Yeah, I'd probably put him at about 15 or 16 off the top of my head.
Emmanuel Wilson or Jalen Warren?
Warren.
I'm praying it's Warren.
One.
Warren.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other comps, but Tyrone Tracy or Emmanuel Wilson?
Wilson.
Wilson over Tracy. Tracy was a disappointment this past. We all got excited for Tyrone Tracy.
The Giants didn't attempt to pass until 3 minutes or something.
Well, they tried a couple, but it was a sack or a fumble or whatever. Yeah, they didn't complete a pass until the second half, I think.
No, I think there was 3 minutes in the first quarter. It might have been. But maybe you're right.
It was a long time before he completed the pass. It was either just before or just after halftime.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear another sickening story? I told you guys last week on this show that I started Jeanty, and on my bench in the first week of the fantasy playoffs on an online championship team that I dropped a 215 on was Gainwell and Tracy, and I missed out on both of those big games from Gainwell and Tracy to have Jeanty in. Well, this week I sat Jeanty, right, and I played Tracy. And when you add those 2 points up, the what I missed by flipping both weeks, I'd be first overall in the online championship.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
That's infuriating.
Right? Yeah, it's infuriating. It really is. But
that's basically when you look at the season too. The coaching decisions you make to start sits that are so
it's tough. It's tough. This is what keeps us up at night.
Yeah, we got a tough one from Steve here. Emmanuel Wilson or Josh Brooks.
Well, Steve, you didn't tell us that you had Emmanuel Wilson available instead of Taj Brooks. I mean, Emmanuel Wilson might be might ship you the platinum.
Yeah, Scott said if the Lions lose Thursday.
Yeah.
Then he's probably definitely not playing.
Yeah.
Michael's got a good one with Javonte right out of the gate Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
Any concerns with Jeanty being banged up? Yeah, for sure. He hasn't looked good lately. He's getting saved by touch. He didn't score this. Did he score? No, he didn't score this past week. I think he gave 10 fantasy points versus the Chargers.
Eight, something like that.
Yeah, he caught a couple balls, but
he looks like he's running out of gas here to end the year. But if you've got Javonte and that's
Washington.
It's a really good matchup.
I think
I'm not saying to start him, but I'm not saying you just sit him.
Yeah, I think he's fighting through an AC joint sprain.
I think I know what you guys will say on this, but Javonte or Emmanuel Wilson.
If there's no Jacobs.
Yeah, if there's no Jacobs.
We're not going to know. Christmas Day.
Yeah,
that's true.
Saturday night.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you got to go Javonte.
It would be Wilson if we knew that Jacobs was going to take a week off here. For me.
Yeah. Same.
And I started the show off by saying 5 players I'm petrified of if I don't have them this championship week. Guys, anybody off the top of your head? Either way, I'll ask the question. Player that you guys are petrified of that you don't have that I didn't mention earlier in the show that you think it is a really great spot to have a huge week 17, or a player that you are counting on that you think is in a great spot that you could see having a good week? Anything like that?
I'm looking.
I'm
like an
I'm
under
not
the
real
radar.
wound up about going up against Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's going to torch the Vikings.
Who, Amon-Ra?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Vikings got a really good pass defense, but I think the Lions are gonna. I think the Lions this is just pride.
It's gonna be, it'll be death by 1,000 paper cuts by ARSB. The Vikings will be wanting to prevent the big JMO play or whatever, and they'll be trying to mess around with Goff and rushing straight up the middle like they did last time, all that kind of stuff, and basically it's all going to lead, I think, into the short passing game, and Amon-Ra St. Brown could just absolutely smash.
Okay.
I know for Chad, it's his sweat is going to be Chris Ibo, who's right behind him in the prime time, and Chris has got Goff, Jameson, and Amon-Ra.
So, Nelson, let's talk about Eibel's team real quick, because that's the team that was up against me in my private prime time, in the prime time. And it's funny because that team all year long, we were head to head. That's the league. I finished first overall in that league, but he won it record wise. So we both are in a playoff against each other, 3-week playoff. He's up about 700 points on me, I think. But all year long, I'm looking at his team, and I'm like, this is the team that's going to win it all. And now here we are in week 17, and he's in second. He has bad, tough luck. He has Devontae Adams on that team, Nelson. Yeah. So what he did on that team with Goff is he has Goff with Amon-Ra and Jameson, and he has the Ram stack with Puka and Devontae. Okay? With good running backs, and I want to say Trey McBride too as well, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It's an absolutely filthy loaded team that unfortunately he lost on for you guys losing Devontae, but that first week of the fantasy playoffs, he put up 230 points when the Rams played the Lions and they were all going up and down the field on each other. That team is filthy loaded. But he is in a good spot to, that's what you want. You want the stacks right now.
I mean, the guy you got to be scared of this week is Saquon versus the Bills. I mean, you could just run on the Bills. And the sneaky guy, if there's no Trevion, if he doesn't, clear protocol, would be Stevenson just for touchdowns. If they,
that's
if they're inside that 5.
That's a good one to sneak in championship week. A lot of play. That's really the question I'm asking right there, honestly, Matt, is who's a guy that hasn't been in that you could see? Like I mentioned Emmanuel Wilson. If you could take him off your bench and start him championship week here, Ramondre is the best answer, I think, that you just said. If they rule out Henderson, you get a full backload championship week. Ramondre versus the Jets run defense. That could be a potential 25 or 30 right there. Anybody else have a guy like that? I know I love to do this to you guys and everything.
By the way, how about Sean Tucker just vulturing those touchdowns?
He's their goal line back.
Yeah, no, it's
and Bucky's been a disappointment for since coming back, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
He doesn't look as explosive. To me, like he doesn't look as quick through the line, and then he's getting Tucker's taking away those goal line important goal line touches where if he scores a touchdown, now he's got a decent game going. So his ceiling is capped.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say Troy Franklin is.
I hope you're right, Nelson. Come on, let's go.
How about RJ Harvey? RJ Harvey's in a great spot, versus Kansas City this week. Cold weather, I'm sure. They don't have much else. They'll probably be playing with a double-digit lead the whole second half. He's in line for a really good game. Selfishly, I'll be rooting for Aaron Jones in that game versus the Lions. He's got to do it rushing and receiving, hopefully. Mason's not going to be there. Hopefully, Xavier Scott doesn't get too much of a run, but that's going to be a piece that not a lot of people have in their lineups championship week. They'll be in the lineup. I'm saying that like is up there in the overalls. That is a difference maker. A player that isn't a common name. That's another one.
Here, I just noticed this on Eibel's team.
Yeah,
he's going Goff because he's got Jameson Amon-Ra. You have to.
Automatic.
But he's got Burrow on his bench.
Holy shit!
Just comparison. Forget about the stack. Are you going Goff or Burrow? Because I actually think that's a legit question, except for his team because he's got the 2 Lions.
You're saying straight up not in his not in his predicament where he's got Amon-Ra and J-Mo.
I'm starting Burrow. I mean,
I would
Burrow-
start Burrow easily
Yeah.
over him. Yeah.
Burrow, once again, it looks like week 16 and week 17 when this guy's healthy, he's like the guy you want.
So there you go. So are we hands down Burrow?
Hands down, I'd go Burrow over Goff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
there you go. So for him, his dilemma is, hey, I got 2 Lions. So as they go, so does Goff, obviously. How am I going to go play Burrow on this particular team?
That is so tough. Like,
That
being
is
that he
tough,
has Goff.
I don't know what you do in that situation because I think with that game with Cincinnati, Arizona, if Brissett, now that Harrison's back for a second week, he's got the full arsenal. Their defense is banged up. If you watch that Arizona game, they lost 2 guys on their starting defense this past week, 2 big pieces. Their defense is completely falling apart. If Arizona could keep up with Cincinnati, we see it every year. These Bengals just show up championship week and blow up. I really have a feeling that that's a 42-31 type game. So I don't know how you wouldn't want – if Brosmer starts for the Vikings on Christmas Day, what's Goff's ceiling? I know he probably has to go to Goff with the combination, but – you can easily get a Gibbs and Montgomery 3 rushing touchdowns versus the Vikings, run the shit out of the ball. Goff throws for 220 and a touchdown. I don't see that with Burrow. I see Burrow 365 and 4 touchdowns. I don't know what he does, Nelson. I don't know. That's a tough one.
I'm probably the one who is least likely to lean into a stack if I think I got a better player out of all of us. I would probably just go Burrow.
But the logic behind it is okay. I got J-Mo and Amon-Ra that I'm playing on this team. If they don't if they don't get it done, I'm not winning at all. Even if I got the Burrow Goff call right.
Right.
Yeah. Nelson, does factoring in this, listen, I know we all want the big carrot, right? And you know, that team, Chad's team up top has got him by 45. Still winning $50K for second. So I'm not trying to, does that factor in? Or I think at this point, you have 2 legends right there, Eibel and Chad. Eibel's going to go for it all. He's not interested in second place. I'd go Burrow. I'd go Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
I see Burrow potentially as
the
a
rest of
40
your
or
lineup
50.
can carry you. If J-Mo and Amon-Ra don't have the greatest game, or maybe Amon-Ra has a good game, but still Goff's game is just kind of then Burrow is definitely the pick. Because he's got ETN. ETN could go off. He's got Nakua, McBride, Juwan Johnson. He's playing as flex. I think Juwan is a great play, a smash play this week. So you look at the rest of the lineup, and that's kind of that's a path to winning right there.
Yeah. Nelson, back to the champion, the team up top for Chad. What is it real quick again?
It's Trevor Lawrence, Javonte Williams, Gainwell, Amon-Ra, JSN, Sutton, Fannin, Pitts.
Wow. And nothing
Double
on the
tight
bench.
end.
With nothing on the bench, right?
There's Josh Downs.
Josh Downs was Rivers' guy.
Yeah. I mean, that guy's so talented. It's just a shame. They gotta get their case.
I don't think Josh Downs gets in that lineup for you guys at all, or is even it's not a consideration either. But I'm just saying, at least it's a piece that if anything crazy happens throughout the week, if there's this injury pops up, we got this.
Amon-Ra is not practicing, right? But I don't expect him to practice. I expect him to play.
Yeah,
he's a gamer. But if he sat, which a lot of teams have Amon-Ra, behind him, he does have Tesla on the bench, and then that would be my automatic start.
Would you go Tesla over Downs?
Oh yeah. If Amon-Ra is out,
yeah.
If I'm Chad, I'm swapping out those 2 guys, Tesla for Amon-Ra.
Okay.
How crazy was that? He almost had to touch that. He had 10 catches, 5 touchdowns, and he almost got that second touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, some interesting calls. I mean, I think Fannon's in a really good spot. Pitts, we're all hoping Pitts has one more good week. But listen, we said it last week, and it's been 2 really good weeks for Chad's team up top. It's not a powerhouse team.
It's not.
You know,
He drafted Neighbors in the first round
of this team.
On this team, yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be I didn't know that. That's gonna be something that's talked about for years. If he pulls this out, because we talk about, like, if you lose your first round overall pick, you're dead. I said it earlier. Matt, you argued against that.
Yeah,
Matt, you argued against that. And if Chad wins this, regardless if Chad wins it or if he comes up short, it's gonna be, it's gonna be something that is always referred to. Like, hey, Chad almost won it all. Chad won it all, and Neighbors was his first overall, pick. To have Neighbors, JSN, and Amon-Ra on one team is who knows what that team.
And his 5th round pick was Jaden Daniels.
Well, I mean, the thing, like Trevor Lawrence,
two of the top 5 picks.
Wow.
Trevor Lawrence facing the Colts is just a dream. I mean, that just happened to fall the way he's on the way he's riding right now.
I want to say this, Matt. Sauce Gardner was over on the sideline. It was a Monday night. If he wasn't ready to go last night, 5 days later, is he going to be ready to go? Hopefully he sits out and that the Colts defense is a bottom 5 defense right now. So as long as Rivers,
and they played Monday night, like you said, too.
Yeah, as long as Rivers could keep up with them, I'm hopefully excited to have this game. To watch this game on championship week. A lot of good matchups, but interesting. It's always fun to sit and watch. When you have a team in the running for an overall, it's what we do this for. Whatever event you're in, that final week. That's why we play this game, is to have a piece and to sit down and have a sweat. As long as you could sit down on championship week and say, hey, if I am that team that drops a 200 to 220, I can win this overall. That's all that's all you want. It sucks. There's been years where and I'm sure you guys have not had anything in the overall running. And there's years that we all have, right? It's just fun to wake up that final Sunday and go, hey, if shit breaks right and things all work out, I could be sitting at the end of this day with a big check. And,
by the way, play the Powerball. 1.7 billion. Nobody won last night.
I know. Me and all my friends, me and like 8 of my friends in our group, since we're friends forever. We all went out and bought $20 each, put it in the group chat. So we had 160 entries. It was like Chad. we Chad. we Chad Schroeder the Powerball. But hey, if I don't win an overall, or any of us win an overall, hopefully we win the Powerball.
I'll take the Powerball.
Yeah. Next year I'll come out with. I'll be in every prime time next year. The platinum, the diamonds, you name it. You won't see my name not in a league.
Somebody signed up for all the FFPC gorillas. Oh.
Everything. You name it. I'll be in that Kentucky. What's that? The Kentucky overall?
Yeah.
The Kentucky State Fair.
All right, guys. Anything else?
God. I'll be in everything.
Bon Natale is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
No.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate.
Yeah. Shout out to all our listeners. Merry Christmas. Enjoy it. And hopefully we're all here next week, and us and our listeners all cashed big checks and won some titles.
What are we doing next week? We're doing playoff challenges?
No, not next week.
No,
I mean, we can start talking about it a little bit. I think next week we probably.
No, I'm saying in preparation, start talking about, or
yeah,
we taking a week off.
It'll be a recap. You know what? Next week's show will be a big recap of all the overall winners and contests, and a little talk about week 18 and what and
a little look ahead, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
it'll be a fun week. Yeah, it'll be a fun week.
You know it.
All right. So thanks everybody for joining us this week. And as always, we love the feedback. Hit the like button, leave a comment, give us a review, whatever works for the format in which you're consuming the show. And good luck to everybody in the Empire this week. We hope you have a great week 17. We'll see you all next week to recap the season. We'll talk about lessons learned, plot strategy for the playoff contest, all that good stuff. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to all of our viewers and listeners, and we'll see you all later.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.